So my name is Ethan. I am the general manager here at the LA office for Biddingo.com. We're also known as Bofi.com. And we're going to cover our relationship with CNM. I'm going to talk about a little bit about Biddingo.com and what it is we do, where we come from, our relationship with CNM, as I had mentioned, and we'll go over the vendor registration process, which I assume most of you guys have already done. We will navigate through the CNM landing page, and we'll also look into Biddingo.com. So the CNM landing page and Biddingo.com are the two ways you can access CNM bid opportunity data. And lastly, we're going to respond to an electronic bid. So Biddingo.com has been around for about 20 years. We provide procurement solutions, not only for the government agencies, but also for the vendors. And so what do I mean by that? We provide an e-procurement solution for cities, towns, universities, school districts, healthcare companies, any organization that is public sector that needs to go through a public procurement process. Those are the organizations that we work with on the buyer end. We provide them with a purchasing solution. On the vendor side, we also offer a service, and they're named Biddingo.com and BiddingoWest.com. And what this does is we aggregate the bids. We post bids across Canada. I understand that you guys are in New Mexico, or most of you are in New Mexico, so this is probably going to be of very little interest. But we are planning to expand out into the U.S. and cover also the U.S. market. So we have about 1,000 public sector organizations in Canada right now that are our clients, and they use our system not only to track their bids and post their bids. When they post their bids, these bids also show up on Biddingo.com and BiddingoWest.com. But we also have a research team that goes out and scours for bidding opportunities across Canada, and we put them into our system and we link them back to that particular government agency. So it's really like a one-stop solution for vendors like yourselves that are looking for bid opportunities. But as I mentioned, it's currently primarily everything is in Canada. We began our operation in Canada. It started in Toronto, actually, and that's where our headquarters is. I am based in the LA office. As I mentioned, we are sometimes referred to as Bofi.com. So if you hear that, don't be alarmed. It's just we are the same, one and same organization. So we're really happy to be working with CNM, and we're happy to be working with you as well as the vendors. CNM approached us with the idea of wanting a solution where they could pretty much get rid of all the paper. They didn't want to post paper documents. They didn't want to print them out and make them available in their purchasing counter. They didn't want to receive bid document packages. So they wanted to do away with all of that. And that's good news for you guys, because now you don't have to go and print late at night, 5 binded copies of your, RFP response, and then you have to rush over to the purchasing counter of CNM to drop that off, and beat all the traffic. And I've been through that, so I know what you guys are experiencing. So the online process, you just submit, you fill out your response directly online, and you submit it online. So it's a pretty simple process. In addition to those online responses, CNM is using our system to, obviously manage their bids, manage their vendor list. And they're also accepting questions through our system, and they can respond through the system. One thing that you guys should definitely note is that the bids on CNM they're going to be free for you guys in terms of being able to access it and able to respond to those electronic bids. And that also includes, any addendums that you get. You are going to see at the moment references to, please subscribe, or that you're on a 30-day trial. That is going to go away at some point. We're working towards that. But given that CNM is using the Bidingo system and Bidingo.com is actually a subscription-based platform, that's the reason why you're getting that kind of information. But you are, as CNM vendors looking for CNM bids and accessing those bids to respond to them, you do not have to pay anything. Just keep that in mind. If for some reason you're not able to access that information, you can give me a call and we can, straighten that out. Lastly, on this point, we are working on a training manual, and we will make that available online at some, probably in a few weeks from now. So we're going to go into the CNM landing page, and we're also going to go into Bidingo.com, which are the two methods where you can access CNM bids. We recommend the latest browsers from Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, and Mozilla Firefox. And the reason for that is, especially when you're looking at the electronic bids, you need the latest ones so that the formatting and the structures remain intact. If you don't, it might look broken. So we definitely suggest that. Do add Bidingo.com and Bofi.com to your safe sender list. In addition to getting daily bid notices, we use email pretty much for most types of communication. If you get invited to a bid, you're going to get an email. If you downloaded or accessed one of the bids and that bid issues an amendment, we're going to send you an email. So those are the type of communication that that's the avenue that we use is email. So please do add us to your safe sender list. We are going to go into just quickly the vendor application. Assume that most of you guys have already filled it out, but we're going to go into how you can revise that information if anything on there changes for you. And then we'll access some of the bid information. Okay. So let's go on to, so this is the CNM landing page. We're actually on a demo site, so it should look pretty much the same. Some of the content might be different. This is my sandbox where I can go in and play around with the system and enter test data. But this is currently what it looks like. You'll see on the left here, this is where you can, once you've registered, this is where you would enter your user ID and password. Down the bottom, there's the vendor application. And then below that are some links that CNM has decided to make available to you guys. They thought that would be, resourceful to you. So in the middle, there's a search button. And at the bottom, you'll start seeing the bids. There's two tabs, the bids that are currently active right now and they're open for bidding, and the historical bids. So you can go to any of these bids. I'm currently not logged on, and you can quickly see what this bid is about. So emergency notification system, you can see that this is test data. I'm just creating bogus information. But you'll be able to see the bid number, who it's published by, what type of bid it is, the contract type, whether it's an invitation for bid or an RFP. CNM might make the value range available to you. The published date is when the bid got published in the bidding system. This is different from, I think, what CNM sometimes uses called the legal advertised date. There's obviously the closing date and time, the current status of that bid. And I don't have one here, but if there was a site meeting for this particular bid, it would also show up top here. It'll say whether that site meeting is mandatory or recommended, and they'll provide you the date and time and location for that site meeting. At the bottom, you will see a small blurb of what that bid is about. Towards the right, at the bottom of the right, you'll see the categories that were selected for this bid. So if your profile fits one of these categories, you should be getting an email alert on that. Okay. The bid documents. This is where CNM would attach any documents that they see relevant. They're not going to attach a PDF document of the actual bid. It is going to be an electronic bid form, which you can access over here. But anytime, let's say they want to provide you with additional information, such as drawings or like they post an addendum with the site meeting and who attended that site meeting, you will be able to find that here. The announcement section is where you will find the addendums issued by CNM. Currently, I'm not logged in, so I can't access that information. But we'll touch upon that. You are supposed to get, whenever CNM issues an amendment, you are supposed to get an email alert. But that's if you've accessed the bid. If you haven't accessed the bid, then obviously you wouldn't be getting anything. But once you've accessed the bid, our system recognizes that you've accessed this bid. This bid is of interest to you. So we're going to automatically send you an amendment, and it's going to look something similar to this. Who is issuing the amendment, the bid number, the bid name, and it'll give you a link. Once you click on that, it'll direct you to that particular amendment. Do note that it's still the responsibility of CNM vendors to go back into the system to see if there are any amendments that you may have missed. And that's actually a good practice for you guys, because sometimes things happen in the system. Either it gets filtered in the junk folder, or somehow our system goes down and we didn't send it. Anyways, I don't think that's going to happen, but it's always good practice that you go in there. Okay. To document takers, this is also sometimes what we call the plan holder list. It's something that we provide to all our clients. It allows vendors to see who got invited and who is interested in this bid, who has downloaded this information. CNM has decided that they're going to make all this information hidden to you, so you won't be able to see this information. But if you, for example, did look at some of the other buyer landing pages or other clients that we do business with, sometimes they make this information available for transparency purposes. Okay. Now to access the Q&A board, okay, I'm going to need to log in. So as I mentioned before, so there's two tabs: the ones that are currently active and the historical bids. The additional information that you will be able to extract from this is the bid results. I have two examples of bid results. I'm going to go to this one called Shop Equipment. So this is the basic information of that bid on top, and then at the bottom you'll be able to see what the results were and who got awarded this particular bid. A different view of that is if CNM decides to upload a PDF document of the actual bid result, and you'll be able to get an image of what the results were for that bid. So I'm going to log on now. I created a fictional character for our test called Walter White at Heisenberg. And I understand he's very popular in Albuquerque. Anyway, so once I log on, I'm going to go into this bit over here to show you guys the Q&A board and the announcements. So as you can see, I see a one-bit document there, and it's actually, this bit document is based on one of the addendums that CNM had issued. I'm going to go into the announcements. And I can see two amendments have been issued. The first one says additional forms. Okay. So the details of this addendum say an additional form is required. Please go into the electronic bid form to access and respond. So we're going to touch back on this addendum later. Just keep this in mind. Keep this addendum in mind. We will see it once we go into the electronic bid form. Okay. The second addendum is the sign-in sheet. Okay. So there's a sign-in sheet, and please refer to the associated documents for further details. So that sign-in sheet is in the bid document section. And I can download that. I agree. I continue to download. And let's open that bid document, that sign-in sheet. So this is what it looks like. It's not for this particular bid, but I just posted something from CNM. Okay, just to show you guys as an example. All right. Okay, let's go back. So once you're logged in, other things that you can do is you can submit a question through the Q&A board. When you submit a question through the Q&A board, the contact person or the buyer from CNM will get notified through email that a question has been submitted. And it's a pretty simple process. You just type in the subject or the title, the content of your question, and you just press on submit your question. You'll see at the bottom over here some of the previous questions that were asked. You won't be able to see who submitted that question, but you will be able to see the content of that question. So you're not, going in and asking the same question to the buyer. Okay. All right. Now, if for some reason you guys need to change your information on the vendor registration form, is you go back here. You go back to the vendor application over here. All you have to do is just click on that, and you'll be able to modify the two sections here. The top one being your commodity codes. If you want to change the commodity codes that you had previously selected, you can just scroll down through here and make your changes. And or if, let's say, you change your address, for example, or your fax number has changed, you can modify your information here. And all you do is just, after you've done, just click on Submit Application Form, and it will update that information for you. You might get an email about once a year reminding you to confirm or verify that information. So you just go back in and make sure that everything is in good-looking order. Now we're going to go into an electronic bid, and we're going to respond to that bid. One thing that you should note is that there is a character limit on how much information you can put in one of those text boxes, the long text box, and that's 4,000. We are going to go into attachments in the system, how to use Excel to export information and import information back, and we'll do a submission. Okay. So I'm logged in as Walter, and access this bid that I the demo bid that I created. To access that bid, I just click on the electronic bid form here. And it shoots me off to the e-bidding platform of the system. So this is the bid in its entirety. You are able to scroll down and see what this bid looks like. Towards the left is a table of contents where you can quickly access the different sections. You'll be able to see towards the right here a big countdown clock. This particular case, 7 days and 26 minutes. So you want to submit bids, obviously, before that clock runs 0. Once that clock hits 0, you cannot submit your bid response anymore. The submission button is, to invoke the submission button, you click on confirm and submit your bid response, which takes you to another screen that allows you to submit that. But once that clock hits 0, this is going to be graded out or it's going to disappear. All right. You can also access, my profile and my biddingo, which we just had covered. You can export all items to Excel. Now, what this does is, in an Excel format, you can see all the response items that CNM has, put in their bid document. Which sections require a response. Now, I already went in and filled out some of the information, so just for time purposes. So, for example, this is like a Q&A. They ask a question, and this is the response that I've entered. The following section is the pricing section, where they specify the unit of measure, the quantity. I entered the hours and my unit price, and this pound value. This is it's an automatically calculated value. So whatever quantity they've entered and you've entered unit price, it'll automatically do that calculation for you, which is a great thing for those that are mathematically challenged. I know those companies exist. I hear stories from buyers. Anyways, this is some of the other response forms that you can see. Okay, we're going to go back into the bid. You can generate a PDF of the bid document, and you can do it with your bid response in it or without. So I'm going to show you an example of what that looks like. So this is the Central New Mexico Community College, the bid number, and this is the content that we had seen before online, but in PDF form. Do note that when we transfer some information from an online platform to a PDF form, sometimes the formatting does get a little bit off. Just bear that in mind. Okay. Now, so if you go towards the left here, so there's a table of contents. There's also a tab called Response Contents, and that's if you only want to see the items that are response items. Okay. So these are the sections where CNM says, hey, you need to respond to this particular section. Most of them, when you begin, it'll say response instead of update. I've already put in information there, so it says update. So I'm going to go in, and you are going to notice this red asterisk throughout the bid form, and this is a section where a response is required. You need to put some kind of information in this text, and you need to respond to this particular item. If you do not, the system won't let you submit your bid response. Okay. So this one is a Q&A section. We had seen the pricing section where you can why don't we go inside, and I'm going to show you that automatic calculation that I had been talking about. So for this particular bid, they're asking for, it's by lot. The unit of measure is lot, and the quantity is 1. But let's say if I want to change that, 30,000 figure to 45,000, and it'll automatically, calculate that for you. So that's another type of response form. You could have something like these are some of the required forms that I know CNM puts out is the company information, or the non-collusion affidavit. Here they're asking for a name, title, an email, and there's a checkbox. In the New Mexico resident preference, this is a radio button where you just say, hey, yes, I am eligible for this preference, or no, I'm not. I'm going to go back to my table of contents. The other type of response that you might need to do is an attachment. Exhibit 4 over here, New Mexico resident and residence preference certification is an example. You'll see this icon called attached document. So I'm just going to go in there. And what this is asking you to do is either to download this document and re-upload it, or download the document. You might need to, it was like a signature form, you might need to sign it, scan it, and then re-upload it. It might be just asking for a certificate of New Mexico residency. It could be your A-Court form for your certificate of viability. So in that case, what you do is, if you need to download it, you download it, and depending on the instructions. And to upload, it's pretty easy. You can actually attach more than one document if you need to. But all you do is just browse. I'm just going to pick a test document. Open. Just going to put some information in the description area, and I upload the document. And if I need to update that information, all I do is I go back into upload attachments. I delete that document, and I can re-upload a more recent document. I'm going to close out of that. Okay. Also towards the left, what you're going to notice to the very left, on the left column, is a section called Amend, and that stands for amendment. As I mentioned before, for this particular bid, CNM had issued one addendum that said, hey, we've added an additional form. So you'll be able to notice once you log into the bid form which sections have been amended. So we're going to go to this section called Required Submittal, and you'll see in red that this section has been amendment. There has been a change, so you should pay particular attention to this. And then I'm going to also scroll down, and so this is the actual form that they amended. They added. I can see that they probably just needed to add that to this particular section, and that's why this section got amended. So that one again indicates that an amendment has been made. So it could be a new section, or it could be a change to one of the sections. So disclosure of current litigations. Okay, I don't have any. I go to none. Okay. The import function for in Excel. So I had shown you before export all items to Excel, and what this does is just whether when you've entered your response, or even if you haven't entered your response, you can export all the items where they're asking for some kind of where CNM is asking for some kind of information. Now what you can also do is use this export function to Excel. And what this allows you to do is you can enter your information in Excel and import it back and this form will automatically populate. Oh, okay. All right, so I've exported this particular bid form. So the information that they're asking for is the same. And this is where, I would enable edit and start entering my information, my legal company name, my address, etc. You'll see at the bottom in the legend, again, it'll note you that the maximum allowed length is 4,000 characters. And this is for non-text box. It's not for all the fields. Some fields are going to be shorter. It really depends on the attribute that CNM selects for this particular response form. Talking about attributes, if in the pricing form, if you started to enter letters, for example, on your unit price, it'll let you know that you've made an error and that information will not be saved. Anyways, for this particular bid form, what I did is I already went ahead and I created my sample information. I already entered it in there. This is the one I downloaded. I'm just going to close out of that. And that's the same form, just with with my information entered. I'm going to go back into the bid. So I'm going to click on Import from Excel. Okay, browse. I'm going to look for my document. It's called 2.1 sample import. I'm going to open it, and I submit. So my information gets populated automatically. Okay. So now I'm going to assume that I'm done with my response form. I think I've entered everything. I'm going to confirm and submit my bid response. And the first thing that you're going to see is that I haven't completed all the required items. I haven't finished 2.3. At the bottom, you'll see the ones that you have completed, which are green and check marked. The blue ones are optional items, and I haven't filled them out. If I did, you'll have a blue and a check mark. These are the addendums that CNM has issued, and then the bidding with terms of use. If I have completed all my required items, I would see a submit button right next to the cancel over here. Anyways, I can go directly to this response and make sure that I complete all my items. So I see that I've filled out my name, my title, the email. It seems like I forgot to agree to this particular term and condition. Okay. Once I click on check, okay, I think I should be good to go. So I'm going to try and confirm and submit my bid response again. Okay, so no data found in the required items that were incompleted. I'm going to review all my information, scroll down, and I see my submit button. All I need to do is agree to the terms and conditions, submit, and I get a message as to when I submitted the bid. You will get an email confirmation about this, letting you know that you did submit a bid successfully. You can also print a copy of the e-receipt. So here you'll see the bid information, who was submitted by, who was received by, and the list of your response items. This is probably something that you want to keep just for your records, just to ensure that hey, we did submit and I have a e-receipt number. Okay. At this point, what you also can do is generate a PDF of your electronic bid response. So I'm going to click here. And so this is my bid response with all my answers. So you probably want to keep this also for record keeping. One thing to note is the information that you enter on the system gets saved in real time. You won't see a save button anywhere. It's pretty much, well, other than when you're doing the attachments, but you won't see a save button. Is information as you enter it is gonna, and you move on to the next section, it's gonna save that information automatically. You can submit your bid response as many times as you want. What the system is going to do is simply overwrite your previous response with the one that with your latest one. And CNM only gets your latest bid response. Okay, so one of the things that we recommend our clients to do is always, once you have a complete and a compliant bid response, is you submit it as quickly as possible. And that way, you've put your foot, in the door and, make sure that you've at least submitted something. And then you can go back and, update your information as necessary. After you submitted your response, you can also withdraw your response by clicking on this red button at the bottom here. In that case, CNM will see that they will see in their records that you submitted something, but that you withdrew it. They will never have access to a bid that has been withdrawn. They won't even see it. One word of caution that when you do use this withdraw my eBid response, it's also going to destroy your responses in the system. So once you do that and you confirm it, all your information here is gone. So if you wanted to enter information again, then you would have to start all the way from scratch. So just be careful with using that button. Obviously, unless you're in the system actually responding to a bid, once you play around with it, you'll get a better feel and a better understanding of the system. If when it does come to that time when you do need to respond to a bid and you're having trouble navigating, or you have any questions, better call Ethan. I'm right here for you. So just pick up the phone or shoot me an email, and I'll be more than happy to help. Just don't call me on the day when your bid is due. That would be unadvisable. But that's it for me.